There can be so many different reasons why people get deterred from getting their first buy-to-let or entering the property investment world. Sometimes people say, well look, I've tried it, I've been a landlord, I've had nothing but trouble, I don't get the tenants, I get periods of void. Other people are saying, well, I don't know, I think it's better to do stocks and invest in there. And some people just like to keep their money in their savings account. They know it's safe there, and they know what they get. And then the big one is what if there's another recession, and house prices massively drop, I lose out on my money, and I don't want those problems in my life. But is any of that true? Hey everybody, my name is Jason Davies. I help everybody build a property investment portfolio and get into their first property investment if it's first time for them. Just a favour, click the like button if you enjoy the content, and we've got plenty of videos if you watch out. And in this video I'm going to give some tips as well. I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of buy-to-lets, but also some top tips about getting into the right buy-to-lets. You get the returns coming into you every single month. So hello everybody, how you doing? I want to touch on the pros and cons of the buy-to-let, and I want to make sure that if you are literally on the fence and you're really not sure, you've got some money and you want to have that money working hard for you, you're just not sure on what to do, because obviously it's taken a long time to get that money, right? I completely understand that. So you don't want to make a mistake. So let's just break down the pros and the cons of a buy-to-let. And at the beginning of the video I spoke about, well, what other options are there? And we talked about the bank before. And the problem with savings in a bank is that ultimately it's going to be depreciating over time. You're not going to get anything back. We know currently what's going on with Russia and Ukraine and Brexit and COVID. Everything's going up, right? Inflation is just going to be going out of control. And as a result, ultimately, it's going to be a problem. Your money is going to be worth less, in the next year or so than it is today. And so leaving it in the bank is not going to be the solution. Well, what about other options? What about stocks? Now, stocks can be great, and that's certainly something that I also delve into and have the skill of trading. But is it as good as property? Well, let's say, for example, arguably you get a 10% profit through the stocks each year. So in 10 years, you get 100% profit. You double your money. That'd be a great investment, wouldn't it? What about property though? Because property also doubles every 10 years, okay? But capital appreciation is not the only way you're making money. You're also getting the rent coming through every single month through cash flow. You're also getting rises in rent that always outstrips inflation. So not only are you going to get the increases through the property prices every 10 years, and that's been doing it since 1086, but also you're going to be getting money in through other avenues as well, because there's 3 ways to get money for a buy-to-let. But forget about what I've just said then. Even if you don't take into account the cash flow you get through the income from the rents every month, there's a massive difference on why property always wins when it comes to the best and most secure investment. And that is a word called leverage. Property gives you leverage. And I'll give you a really good example. If I put £20,000, I have £20,000 to invest, and I put it in the stocks, okay, and as I said, in 10 years, I get a double in my money. I get £40,000. That's fantastic. What a great investment. What if I put the same amount in property? £20,000 deposit. That's, I know there's other costs associated. Let's just keep it simple. I put £20,000 into this buy-to-let property. Now, in 10 years' time, you're not just, as I said, the property price is double, right? So you're not just getting £40,000. You're not just getting more money back from what you put in, because that was your initial deposit. The whole house has doubled in value. So if you bought a £100,000 house, and in 10 years' time it's worth £200,000, you've not doubled your initial deposit. You've made £100,000, and that's what's leverage, and that's what's so powerful about property. That initial £20,000 deposit, and now in 10 years' time, you've made £100,000. Not to mention the income that you're going to get, etc., for the cash flow of constant rental demands. property gives you that advantage of leverage. You can't do that with anything else. You can't do it with Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency. You can't borrow money for gold and silver and then get higher returns at a later date. You know, these sort of things are too volatile. With property, bricks and mortar is a safe, secure investment, and it's a great way to build your wealth over time. Now, of course, there are other ways to make money, maybe faster than buy-to-lets. You can do other strategies as well on property, like rent-to-rent or lease options, or maybe you can start your own business, of course. But why not have a safe and secure buy-to-let portfolio in the background that's always been making you money in the long term while you're asleep? Let's get on to the next reason why a lot of people are deterred. And maybe this is someone who's watching now is an example of this, is that maybe you're already a landlord, maybe you already have a buy-to-let and you've had some really bad experiences so far. You know, you've had void periods, you've struggled to get the tenant demand. Maybe you've had the buy-to-let for a while and you're not seeing the value of the house increase. The property prices aren't really changing, you're not getting much capital appreciation. As I said, this all comes down to having a strategy. It's so important to have a strategy. And the first one is, where do you buy? Now, a lot of the pitfalls that begin with where to buy is a lot of people think it has to be where somewhere I live. Okay, whether or not it gives me good returns, or you know, the area doesn't have good regeneration, etc. It doesn't matter. It's close. If there's a problem, I can go and deal with it as the landlord. That is already setting yourself up to fail. The problem with that approach is that there's always going to be a problem with a buy-to-let. There's going to be. This is just life. There's going to be periods where you get the wrong tenants, etc. Now, you can be strategic and choose the right location where the demand is always going to be there, which I'll touch on that in a second. But if you're always going to be going in and out as a landlord, trying to fix things, deal with maintenance, etc., it's only going to cause you a headache. And that is not the road to financial freedom, that's the road to financial burden. And you'll eventually give up, you won't be interested, and having property will just be something that's tiresome and not enjoyable. What you ultimately want to do is make sure you pick the right property that gives you the returns, even when you take into account a management letting agency that will manage the property for you. They will get tenants, they will ensure that maintenance is carried out. Now, of course, that's going to be a 10% off of your rent, but that doesn't matter because you've taken into account all of the deductions. We're still getting what we call return of capital employed, or your return on investment. And I've spoken to many different people and they say, you know, this buy-to-let has not worked, you know, it's not helping me, it's just a burden. And that's because the area, maybe the buy-to-let investment area they've chosen is right very close to them, but it's just not a good area. It doesn't work in that area. You need to pick an area that works. Now, we've got the tract model. I want you to check out our video on this in terms of where to buy, because it's a really good, and we've got also down in the comments I'll put in there a free buy-to-let investment guide, and we give you this tract model. So it'll help you to decide the best areas to invest. And as I said, get the right area and also have a management company help you. And that will take off 10% of your overall rent income, but it'll be worth it in the end. And that's also part of your strategy in making sure you're getting the right tenants, etc. As long as the area is good, that's not going to be a problem. Now, where to buy? Well, ultimately, you know, we'll talk about the tract model, etc. in other videos, but you've got to remember that, you know, there's not necessarily a correlation between the market price of the house and the rent you're going to get. For example, if you're in an area where the property prices are very high, let's say £1 million property prices, then you might get a rent of, let's say, £1,000. But if you pick an area where property prices are relatively low, let's say 100 grand properties, you're not going to get £100 rents coming in. You're going to get a lot higher. So there's a really, really simple strategy to remember. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. Always aim to buy low and rent high. And of course, make sure you have a management company nearby to support that property or that group of properties that you want to invest in. That is absolutely critical. And that's why here, for example, at Lighthouse Investments Group, we really focus on Liverpool, because one of the great advantages of Liverpool, is that the entry prices, especially if you're new to buy-to-lets, isn't that high. You can get really good low value property in a really fantastic area where we know that growth is going to carry on the next 5-10 years from now, and the demand is going to be high. So you can get in and the rents you're going to be getting are going to be high. Good rental yields, good returns of capital employed. So if you're interested initially putting your foot into buy-to-lets and discussing your first investment maybe, then just type out in the comments box below LHG and then we'll get straight to you and maybe have a discussion about that. Property tends to double every 10 years, and in fact if you look at the last 2 years, it's gone up by around about 10% per annum. So it's going up. Capital appreciation is fundamental when it comes to bricks and mortar, so that is why it's such a safe investment. Now, I said I'll finish this video with a few tips on your buy-to-lets, certainly if you're a beginner and you're getting into this. First one is make sure you check the EPC rating. EPC stands for Energy Performance Certificate, and this is actually really important. You can check it for free when you're doing your research on the type of houses that you want to invest in and get your first buy-to-let. And as a minimum you want to get a rating of D. Potentially in 2025 they're going to force investors to have a minimum of C. So you can check this by going on to EPC postcode register, and you can find out the types of houses. It even gives you the footprint of those houses, which is also useful, and it will tell you the energy rating. That's my first tip. Second tip is make sure, again, you do your due diligence when it comes to the management company. Don't just pick any management company. You want to build a good long-term relationship with this management company. They're going to be helping you find tenants. They're going to be helping you with maintenance, etc., etc. They're going to be doing all the work you don't want to be involved in, right? Check their reviews. Check how they work with other landlords. That's really important. So do your research when it comes to the management company. Don't worry about it if you're picking one area. There's lots of different letting agencies, management companies you can choose. So don't just go for the first. And my third point is, back on that one, don't just go for the first property you see. Do viewings. Speak to estate agents. Understand the area. All of this is key. Don't just go in blindfolded. If you want constant returns, you need to do the maths before. What is your return on capital employed? What is your rental yield? How's that going to look? What deductions do I need to take into account? There was costs associated with it, stamp duty, deposit, the management company fee that I spoke about, solicitors, brokers fees, all of that. It needs to be considered. And my fourth point, really simple, is take action and invest in yourself. This is so important. This is one of the things I struggled at first, I wanted to go straight out there, but and I kept researching that. I did almost the opposite form. I kept researching, but I kept putting myself off from doing anything. Taking action is the most important thing you can do. You can learn about anything. You can go on 100 training courses, but if you don't take action, then what's the point? So take action. Even by watching this YouTube now, you're taking action because you're educating yourself and you're investing in yourself. You need to invest in yourself first before you can invest in anything else. Okay? And if you're interested in learning about that, carry on watching our YouTubes, but also comment in the box below, reach out to us, look at our Instagram, our Facebook. We'd love to help you start talking about your investment strategy and long-term goals. So that's all for now, folks. Thanks very much for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, then check them out. Hopefully that's the right direction, don't know. And as I said, reach out to us. We'd love to help you. You can reach us out on Instagram, Facebook, but of course you can even comment in the YouTube comment box below. I'd love to hear about maybe if you've started the buy-to-let world. Has it worked? Is it working? What do you think are some of the stumbling blocks? That would be really interesting. We can see if we can help you. Of course, don't forget to click on the link below if you want our free buy-to-let investment guide. It's really great. We talk about the track model. So other than that, we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell. See you soon.